When Joe Rogan inevitably announces that he gets paid to exclusively be on whatever platform he's going to go on.
I have an announcement. The podcast is moving to Spotify. It will become exclusive to Spotify.
So I think when Rogan inevitably does Howard Stern 2.0, I think you'll start seeing people realize, oh, there is something here. And I think people are very basic. They look for a report or a very simple ad product to make them feel good, while underestimating when tens of millions of people are paying attention to something, inevitably there's an opportunity to monetize. Like I said in that clip, the reason I knew is this is how the world works. Like, you build up traction in all platforms, and if you're at the tippy top, like the Rogan is, you then have the leverage to go exclusive somewhere and extract enormous dollars. It's a big deal. I guarantee you got a real check. Congrats, Joe. You worked hard for that. For everybody else who's aspiring, get into all platforms, get out there, build leverage, and then reverse.
Spotify reporting a slight miss on revenue, a slightly wider loss than expected. So the streaming giant did see a boost in listeners amid the pandemic, but paid subscribers in the third quarter grew to 144 million, beating expectations. Spotify's total monthly active users rose 29% to 320 million, recovering from a slump in the last quarter. Now, the company also offering some insight into its most popular streaming content. The Michelle Obama podcast was the most listened to podcast through August. The Joe Rogan Experience, which debuted in September, is now the #1 show in all English language markets.
If you pay attention to that breakdown, Spotify's growers are growing. More people, attention. They might miss on earnings because of ad sales or things of that nature, but that plays out over time. The more people that are living in that environment, the more they will continue to win. The key for me here, though, or at least my intuition, Spotify going from music to podcasting makes a ton of sense. My feel is that Spotify has an incredible opportunity to go into video. When you think about podcasts, most of those individuals are recording the videos of that podcast. Now they have Michelle Obama, Joe Rogan, other shows in audio form. Well, why can't they have shows in video form? So if everybody in Spotify gets a, hey, would you pay $3 more a month to get shows? Everyone's gonna say yes. And then all they need is their House of Cards. All they need is their Orange is the New Black. All they need is their Sopranos or their Sex and the City. They need their hit. And now Spotify's a major video player, an OTT, TV, movie, content player. Spotify, to me, is a dark horse to be a major platform in video, not just audio. My biggest thing with Quibi is I think a lot about it in the way that I think about Tinder and Instagram, and let me explain what I mean. Tinder has declined because Instagram DM has become the place where the youth is dating. Mm-hmm. So another platform is just scratching the itch of what that first platform was trying to do. Quibi's biggest vulnerability on this concept of short form creative is, does YouTube actually just already do it? A lot of times platforms that come out are trying to solve for a problem that doesn't exist, or things evolve and become an alternative. And so I always think about, is it solving a problem that doesn't actually exist, or has something else emerged and become an alternative? Facebook Marketplace is an issue for eBay. Instagram DM is an issue for Tinder and Bumble. These are the trends I look for, and with Quibi, it just ultimately didn't solve a problem.
Give us a sense of the goal of this reorganization and what you think it'll accomplish.
Well, what we want to do, Julia, is accelerate our transition to a real direct-to-consumer priority company. We believe that we've got the opportunity to build upon the success of Disney+, which by almost any measure has been far and above anybody's expectations, and really use this to catalyze our growth and increase shareholder wealth.
In this clip, I'm really excited about what Disney's doing. I'm gonna give them some serious steps. The bottom line is OTT, direct-to-consumer content, is here. Network and cable is in a major disadvantage in the next decade, as our behaviors around Netflix culture and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus and Hulu and HBO Max is just the cat's out of the bag. Exactly what cable did to network television, OTT is going to do to cable and television, which is just expand the pie of content. And what I like about Disney is that they're going hard in the reality. I see a lot of brands and a lot of major companies being half pregnant, kind of a little toe in here, a little taste, not even acting on it just yet, just head in the sand like an ostrich. What I think all of you, even if you have a small business and you are trying to debate if you want to sell your product direct to the consumer, this is very clear, smart vision from a big company reacting to what the customer wants. Now, if you break down their products, Disney sits in the best spot because they own the IP. This is the brilliance of the prior CEO buying Marvel, buying Lucas. They own those shows, thus they're the exclusive purveyor. ESPN Plus has been crushing it with UFC, but they have a contract. And in 6 years, UFC can either go direct to consumer or Netflix or Apple. So they're renting IP. So what ESPN Plus has to do is create its own IP. It's not just good enough to have the distribution like the old days with ABC, CBS, or ESPN. You now need to kind of control that IP, be integrated, or you become vulnerable for somebody to leave you. And so IP and distribution. Make the t-shirt and sell it. Don't let Target sell this. Vertical integration, own it all, because the commoditization of the distribution is here. Anybody can build an OTT. How are you going to fill the programming? Are you going to massively overpay to rent stuff? Or are you going to create stuff? This is a macro mindset for all of you. Own all the funnels. The internet commoditizes everything but owning the whole funnel. Create it, distribute it. That is the game of 2030.
The electric automaker now selling branded tequila, Jill, in a lightning bolt-shaped bottle. It does come with a pretty hefty price tag. That costs $250. If you were hoping to get your hands on that lightning bottle this weekend, because we all need it, well, you'll have to wait just a little bit longer because that product already sold out. Tesla says orders are expected to be shipped in late 2020, Jill.
Please, entrepreneurs, please, CMOs and CEOs that watch this video, please understand what Tesla did today with tequila is what I yapped about in this other video that I'm sure the team's now splitting. I think BMW has permission to make headphones that we would all buy because the logo's cool and matters, and we think of them as an engineering company that could make good shit. 99% are like, no, BMW makes cars. I'm in the business of BMW can make headphones. It's brands that have established something enough to have permission to do something that makes sense within that same target demo, just executed in a different product or service. 8 years ago, Apple could have came out with a sneaker and fucking won. They were cool so they could enter, and then they innovated, which is their DNA, and then you would have said, oh my God, what are they gonna come out with next? I think that BMW and Porsche and Mercedes should be going into other sectors. Why should Braun be the biggest razor in the world? Like, I would buy BMW's razor. You know, you gotta think about where you have permission to hedge. I've been on this, I believe in this, I want you to believe in this, take advantage, build brand, expand in unique and interesting ways.
The Peloton shares are on the rise today. They were up after announcing a multi-year partnership with Beyonce. Now, Beyonce is the most requested artist by Peloton's more than 3.6 million global members. And this collaboration is meant to commemorate the fall homecoming celebrations at historically Black colleges and universities.
This is just brilliance across the board. Peloton, Beyonce continuing to be a queen, not only on the stage, but in the business world. Peloton understanding that you create a subscription business, you have about 3.6 million members, getting content in there, no different than what I talked about with Spotify the other day on this platform as I'm doing more business content. Check out the last 10, 15 videos. So they need content. They need their shows, just like Netflix went out and locked in Dave Chappelle, just like Spotify went out and locked in Joe Rogan and Michelle Obama. You need to fill the pipes. We're gonna continue to see this over the next 2 decades, or maybe at least a decade, because I don't wanna guess out that far, but subscription-based businesses on top of the internet are building, and the biggest personalities that can bring the most value will get locked up. Obviously, these deals are in the tens and hundreds of millions of dollars for the artist or the charity of the artist or wherever it's going, but it allows for leverage. Peloton now goes and markets to Beyonce's fan base. They get them into their ecosystem. That person's paying monthly now for a Peloton subscription. And so they can amortize out the value of that star. No different than Howard Stern and Sirius. No different than David Letterman and Jay Leno for NBC and CBS. This game's been going on. This is the 2021 version of it. And these are two monstrously hot brands coming together, doing good, and bringing value to the end user. It's a fucking winning combo.
I literally just opened 300 restaurants all across America, but we only serve people through delivery apps. Basically, open up whatever you use and search MrBeast Burger, and you could order anything from our amazing and delicious menu.
think this execution by MrBeast is going to be underestimated in its significance. And when I think about what it means to the QSR space, it goes to the biggest thesis, I believe, which is that the ability to communicate and to have a community is the asset of the next, several decades, and that a lot of other aspects become commoditized with technology advancements, last mile infrastructure, wasted space, things that used to be super important, which is like have a restaurant to make the burger, is becoming less important. What's more important is the digital landscape. The real estate in the physical world is actually less valuable than the real estate of attention in the digital landscape that can drive business results. Now, you'll need to have true operational capabilities. Just because you're an influencer doesn't mean that if you come out with a wine or a burger or a beauty product, it will be successful. What it means is if you have a massive audience and you cultivate an actual audience over decades or half a decade, and you then match that up with a meaningful and real and quality product operated either by the influencer or by COOs, business partners. There's an incredible ecosystem around influencer marketing that doesn't come with like hawking an item, that are built around building meaningful long-term businesses around that energy. Brand, like a Nike swoosh or a McDonald's M, has always inherently had the leverage on the most value. Humans, really strong, capable humans, are building it at a scale that we've never seen before because the internet is the distribution. There's no gatekeepers. They're on the verge of building meaningful businesses. It won't be everybody, but there'll be some real big executions out there, and this was a preview to that. What's exciting about to me on that is if you're the foremost expert in honey and you love honey, but you also happen to be an accountant, a lawyer, a teacher, a doctor, whatever else you may be doing, but your passion is honey, are you going to be able to take that $46,000 a year salary and build a business around your passion because of the content you put out for several years that makes you more money than the thing you don't like to do day to day? The business infrastructure around the real estate, around attention on the internet is upon us.